Hey folks, it is Sunday, November 28th. The time is just before 2:30 p.m. and the temperature right now is around -1 degree Celsius. And that's a look over at the intersection of Yonge Street and Bloor Street. That's actually where I finished up a video I recorded earlier this morning. So I guess you could say this one's a continuation of that walk, although several hours later. And I'm currently walking east along the north side of Bloor Street East. And you can enter Bloor Yonge Station through those doors there. And I thought since it was still snowing, I should get out and record another video, so here we are. And for this one, I'm just gonna head east a little bit over to Church Street, and then I'll head down through an area known as the Village. And maybe at Gerrard Street, I'll pop over to Yonge and we'll head into Dundas Square. And then maybe I'll keep it going, or that might be a good spot to end it, I'm not really sure. I'm also contemplating firing up a live stream after this. I was originally going to head out in the evening and get another video in, but the forecast says it'll just be light flurries after 4 p.m. So I thought I'd better get out while it's actually still really snowing, although I guess this is still pretty light. I've already got that video that I recorded this morning at 7:30 a.m. uploaded and ready to go. As soon as I get home from this outing, I think I'll make it go live. So it's been a pretty busy and eventful day for me. I woke up early, I ran out, got some newspapers as there was an article featuring me in the Toronto Star. And I went out and recorded that morning Snowfall walk. Came home, did a premiere, edited that video, uploaded it, got some lunch, and here we go again. And there's a look at Toronto Grace Health Centre. And here is Church Street, so I'll be heading south. The roads are quite mucky, as you can see, as this is our first real snowfall of the season. So I think I'll head south down the east side. There's a look over at the Manulife building. And once again, being the dummy that I am, just got the old running shoes on right now. But somehow my feet are still dry. think I had a bit of fun getting back home today. I got to Bloor Station right at 8 a.m. That's when, according to the TTC, Sunday service resumes for the subway. So I thought rather than wait for one of the last buses, I'd head down to the platform. So I went down to the subway platform and it said the next train would be at 8:14 a.m. And that's when service would start. So I went back up to see if I could catch a bus. And I waited outside on Yonge Street with quite a large number of people for a bus that never came. So after 10 minutes, I headed back down, thinking I still had a few minutes before the subway service resumed. And of course, no train came at 8:14. There's a look along Charles Street East. In fact, it wasn't until 8:35 a.m. that a subway train actually came. I got splashed pretty good by that SUV. And of course, the TTC didn't make any announcements or apologies, so had they have just came out and said at 8 there'd be no service northbound for 35 minutes, I just would have called a Lyft or Uber. Oh well, welcome to life in Toronto. There were certainly quite a few people grumbling out loud as I got onto the subway, but overall the service here is pretty good. But annoying things like that happen a fair bit too often for my liking, at least. Here's Isabella Street, so we are entering the village. I can kind of flip the camera around and just visually inspect it to make sure there's no real accumulation of snow or moisture on the lens. So I'm not really sure why I picked this particular route today. I'm sure there'll be plenty more snowfalls to go this year, so I'll try to cover all the major streets downtown. I think it might have been just a few weeks ago that I came down church, albeit in very different weather conditions. There's a look over at Stormcrow Manor. There's Barbara Hall Park. There's an AIDS memorial on the east end of that park. I kind of had a thought to finish up at Berczy Park as well to the south rather than Dundas Square. And here's the main intersection of Church and Wellesley. Wellesley Station being just over to the west there. You can hop on line 1. That would be one stop south of where I started. And even though it's snowing and it's -1, it's not very cold. I don't have my gloves on. There's a rather strong aroma of marijuana just back there. Not that I'd really be complaining about that. And here's Church in Maitland. So I think the last time I came southbound Church, I walked a block south of here, and then I would have headed east.
No, just really sore.
Flash Members Club. I have no idea what that would entail. Okay, here's Alexander Street, so I think I turned left here. There's some interesting retailers in this area, that's for sure. So my original plan was to turn right at Gerrard Street and then head southbound Yonge, but maybe I'll just hold the course here. As I'm thinking, if I keep going straight on Church at the end, we'll get to see, or right near the end of Church, we'll get to see the Flatiron Building. As well as check out Berczy Park. Although I'm not sure if the lights will be on. There's some neat Christmas decorations there, but it is daytime. So yeah, let's do that. Here's Wood Street. There's Maple Leaf Gardens, former home of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's now a Loblaw supermarket and various other retailers, as well as an athletic center for Ryerson University, which I'll be walking by pretty soon. And it was bound to happen. My left shoe has been defeated. I can feel my sock is a little wet. Let's look over at the Maple Leaf Gardens Loblaws. And this would be Carlton Street coming up. Although you wouldn't know it looking at the street sign because it's almost completely covered in snow. This Purelator truck, I think, is asking this car in front of it to inch up. So church starts a little north of where I started this walk, and it's going to end a little south of it, so this one won't quite cover the entire length of it. Yep, let's just back up on a major street in inclement weather. Now he's rolling forward. And here's an Alexandros takeout. They've got a larger restaurant up in Greektown. Best in town. I have to disagree with that. Those claims are always kind of silly. I'm not the only one rocking an umbrella out in this, although the only reason I have one is because of the camera. There's an A&W. I'm thinking, what should be for dinner tonight? Kind of feels like a night to order a pizza. I think I'll be doing my usual Sunday night live stream on my other channel. And I've got a new toy to show off. I guess since this video will be airing after that, it'll be okay to spill the beans on that. I can't tell if the camera's a little foggy or not. I'm just going to give it a quick wipe. It looks like it might be okay. And this is Gerrard Street, so I was originally going to turn right here. We're just going to keep heading south. And that used to be a Starbucks there on the northwest corner. So I mentioned I got a new gadget, primarily for my other channel, although it may find some use on this channel. And that is, I have purchased a green screen. So I'll be able to do some fun and creative things with that, such as changing the background to whatever I want. I'll be able to make it, or I'll be able to carve out my apartment so you'll just see me sitting there and a video in the background or whatever else I want. I know some people kind of like seeing the usual backdrop, so we'll play around with it. But it'll also open up what I do to make some different kinds of videos. And that's kind of why I have the second channel, to explore those kinds of things. And it's worth noting that we are walking through the Ryerson University campus right now. These buildings on either side of Church Street are part of Ryerson. And this is Gould Street. I always find the stretch from Gerrard to Dundas on Church not to be the most interesting. I think that's why I kind of wanted to carve it out of this walk initially. And this is Dundas Street coming up. I guess this share bike service notices its usage must drop quite a bit in inclement weather. Although I did see a few people out on these earlier today. There's a couple of 505 Dundas streetcars. So just to the west of here is Dundas Square and Eaton Center. Although in 2 of my last 3 videos I've been through there, so that's also part of the reason why I'm changing course here. Or rather, sticking to the course and just heading south down Church. Got the umbrella pulled down. So when the real heavy snowfall comes, I'll be sure to jump out and record that. Wink. That was kind of neat. Locked and loaded. Ooh. That wasn't very dramatic. And yes, there's a number of churches on Church Street. Although it gets its name from St. James Cathedral, which is to the south of here. And this would be Shooter Street. So off to the west there, at the terminus of Shooter's, the Eaton Center, but just before that is the newly renovated Massey Hall that opened last night for the first time in several years. And that was after a $184 million renovation. And it was Gordon Lightfoot, a Canadian singer, who performed last night. And the lineup was ridiculous. You can see that line at the start of a video I recorded. And that one I headed over to the Cavalcade of Lights at City Hall. I think that's the United Metropolitan Church. And today's a pivotal day for my fantasy football team. I won the league last year, but my record is one below 500. And I'm locked in a tight battle, and here I am holding an umbrella in my left hand. So I can't really pull out my phone and sneak a peek at how I'm doing. I often like to spend my Sunday afternoons inside. But this is no ordinary Sunday afternoon. And here is Queen Street East. Yeah, it looks like there's some construction just to the south of here. There's a look along Ditty Lane, D-I-T-T-Y. Wonder what the story is behind that. And you know, developers are clamoring to get their hands on that street corner there. There's the Golden Pie, which unfortunately went under during the pandemic. Or I think maybe it was just before the pandemic. But McVeigh's over there has been there since 1962. There's the skyline of the financial district creeping in the background. Let me just check the lens one more time. It seems to be okay. I do apologize if there is something on the lens. Now open. Women's fashion. Pop-ups. Oh, pop-up. I thought it said pop-up soon. Pop-up shop. I better retract the umbrella here. It's kind of like walking through a labyrinth. So here's Adelaide Street. What I think I'll do is I'll turn left here, or rather, Adelaide is the next one. This is Lombard, sorry about that. And I'll turn left and I'll cut through St. James Park and we'll get a neat look at the cathedral. And there's a look at what I'm trying to clomp through here with my running shoes. So if you're wondering if winter is like this the entire time in Toronto, the answer is no. We can go weeks without snow. All it takes is a few above zero days for most of it to start to disappear. And as soon as the roads are dry, I'll be out on the streets on my bike again. There's the bells ringing at St. James. And it's Mr. Robert Gourlay, donning a nifty cap. There's a trio of dogs out having some fun. This must be a great time of year for those guys. For their owners cleaning off their paws, not so much. I never noticed this has a name here. It's the Michael Comstock Pavilion. So just on the east side of the park here is Jarvis Street. And just south of there is St. Lawrence Market. There's the most famous church in the city. Originally built in that spot in 1803. And this is King Street East. And we're almost at the Flatiron Building. And just behind that is Berczy Park.
Low expectations.
And I was thinking about doing a live stream. We also might do a members video for channel and Patreon members with silver tier or higher status. That might be a neat bonus. All right, so I'm gonna go get caught in the median here. Here's a famous look at the Flatiron Building. And this is Front Street East. There's someone setting up a camera. It's kind of a long light cycle. And no, it doesn't look like the lights are on at the park. Well, maybe some of them are on. Well, I was wrong. It looks like they're on. It's just we're in the middle of this thing called daylight. Better than nothing. I came here on a live stream last Friday. And this will be our final destination on this walk. I'll be starting a walk from this spot at night when it's properly dark and well lit at some point. There's the famous dog fountain, and there's some cats lurking on the lampposts. Rather, there's one cat here looking, I think, at some birds on the post over there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this walk starting at Bloor and Young, heading over to church and then heading south with a brief detour through St. James Park and finishing up here at Berczy Park. Which is one of the best downtown parks. I would say Grange Park takes that cake. I'd rank this as number 2. It's on the small side, but it's quite nice. And the location's hard to top. And if you wish to support the channel, there's links to YouTube channel membership and Patreon membership in the description. There's also a link to my Instagram account and a link if you wish to send a PayPal donation. Anyways, thank you for watching, and as always, I will catch you on the next one.